So in this video, you're going to learn the exact components of our highly successful retention strategies that we use on my agency to generate over 1.5 million a month for our e-commerce clients. So this is going to be quite an in-depth video. I'm literally going to lay out all the components of our strategies. And I want to just kind of first of all dive into who this video is for, right? So it's going to be for you if you're an e-commerce brand owner or agency owner looking to improve your retention strategy for either your brand or your clients' brands. It's for you if you want to understand what it really takes to generate at least 30% of your total online revenue from email marketing. And it's also for you if you want a sneak peek at how my agency strategizes for our clients to generate more than 1.5 million every single month for them. Now, who is this video not for, right? This video isn't going to be for you if you cannot concentrate for over 20 minutes. It's not for you if you don't want to actually improve your email marketing skills. And it's not for you if you want a quick fix solution, because this is going to go through the entire strategy. There's no one quick fix in here. It's going to take time, it's going to take skill, and it's going to take some concentration on this video to actually understand and internalize the information. So before we kind of dive in, I just want to kind of talk about the receipts, the proof, just to actually show that I know what I'm talking about. So my agency has generated over $7 million so far for our clients. Here is some of our results. Again, I don't want to bore you too much with this, but again, it's just to showcase that I actually do know what I'm talking about. Now, result screenshots are all well and good. We also do have a few testimonials which you can check out on our website to actually prove, again, that we know what we're talking about. Now that that's over, we can actually dive into the strategy, right? So the strategy is going to be broken down into 5 core sections. We have pop-up forms, copy and design, customer journey mapping, optimization, and finally, third-party integrations. Now we're going to start with pop-up forms, right? So basically, we've tested out quite a lot of different styles of pop-up forms. It's undoubtedly one of the most, I suppose, important aspects of your email marketing strategy. It's the lowest hanging fruit, because if you can increase the amount of subscribers that are coming into your list, you can increase the amount of potential buyers, and hence you can increase the amount of buyers on your list. So again, there's 2 key ways in which you can set this up that we found to work best, right? You have your multi-step pop-up, and you also have your single step pop-up, which we'll get onto in a second. But first of all, we'll discuss the multi-step pop-up. So essentially this will work where the first section of the pop-up is going to ask the customer a question. So it'll ask them, do they want 10% off? Yes or no. We don't even ask for an email in this section. Then the second step is going to ask them to input their email. And the psychology here is that if they obviously click yes, they've already given a micro commitment. So they're very likely to input their email in the second step. Now, step 2, or the version 2, I should say, is a single step pop-up. Nice and simple. You're literally just asking, do they want the offer in the first window? And obviously they can put in their email address. 9 times out of 10, I've seen the multi-step pop-up form outperform a single step pop-up form. But again, it's always going to come down to testing. It completely depends on the brand. So always test this. Test a single step versus a multi-step. Now, what about settings and targeting? It's all well and good that we have our pop-up form offer, we have our structure, but how should we display it? Should it be after, a time delay? Should it be after a page scroll? And again, the short answer is it's going to come down to testing. So generally, we've found the best settings to be as follows: displaying the pop-up 5 or 10 seconds after the page load, or after 30 to 60% of a page scroll. Generally, I've found that time delay normally outperforms a page scroll, but again, you will have to test this. You'll also not want to show the pop-up form generally to people who are already on the list, because of course you don't want them having to sign up again. And if someone joins a Klaviyo list, they cannot rejoin that list. So they cannot re-enter into the welcome series. So it's very important to note as well that the Klaviyo pop-up form display settings works on the AND logic. So what does this mean? This means essentially if you set your pop-up form to display after 5 seconds and you set it to display after a 60% page scroll, that means that the customer will have to complete both actions before the pop-up form actually displays. So that means that you're actually reducing the pool of customers who will actually see that, because they have to complete now 2 actions instead of 1. So the main key takeaway here is to always do either a time delay or do a percentage page scroll, one or the other. Don't do both, because it's just going to reduce the amount of people who can actually see your pop-up form. Now, Just talking about the biggest lever to pull, and the factor that's going to influence your pop-up form conversion rate the most is the offer. It's mainly the offer. At the end of the day, that's all people care about. It's all people like. That's all they sign up for is the percentage off. So just going on about some winning offers that we found in no particular order. You can give a percentage off, a dollar amount off, a free gift with your first order, free shipping with your first order, free guide and educational resource, and enter your email for our monthly competition. These are all the offers that we've tested. They all work, but again, it will come down to testing. A very useful test to do is an X percent versus X dollar off. And generally, if you have a higher AOV business, if your AOV is maybe $300 plus or maybe more, you might want to look at doing a dollar off to protect your margin a bit more, because a percentage off is just going to slash your margins as the AOV increases. Now, just going on to crisp copy and design. So first of all, let's talk about copy. One thing to take note of is you should never really be writing copy from scratch. To improve and to speed up the process, you should always be using, or not always, but most of the time, using a framework. So some of the frameworks that we like to use internally is ADA, PAS, and the 4Ps. So for ADA, attention, grab the reader's attention with a strong headline, keep them interested with engaging content, build a desire for your products with benefits and features, and end with a clear call to action. Problem, agitate, solution. I love using this in plain text emails, especially for supplement brands, where you can be a bit more direct response heavy. You identify the customer's problem, you agitate the problem, you make them obviously feel that more, you make it hurt, and you present your product as the perfect solution. And then the 4Ps: picture, promise, prove, and push. You have to paint a picture of the problem, promise a solution, provide proof that your solution works, push the reader to take action. So if you use one of these frameworks, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to strategize and to structure your copy and to make sure that it is like it's basically designed to bring a customer down a certain journey and towards obviously clicking through to the website or making a purchase. Now, some key elements of great copy. Obviously, headlines, it is going to be the most important aspect of your copy that you put on an email. And generally, the most important copy is going to be on the hero image, because at the end of the day, most people are just going to scan that for a few seconds. And if the copy is compelling, they might read the full email. But generally speaking, 8 out of 10 people aren't going to read past your headline. So you need to make sure that you put most of your focus into making the headline. And it should make customers want to read more. It should make the offer quite clear or state the benefits that they're going to get by either reading the email or paying attention to it. It should state that very clearly from the get-go. Subheadings are just going to break up your heading or break up your copy. You can expand on the heading and lead into the call to action. Your body copy, keep it concise and focused. Don't have obviously big, long, chunky walls of text. Make it more readable. Highlight benefits and features. Call to action, pretty straightforward. Trickle them throughout your email, make it easy for customers to click through. And of course, using the recipient's name wherever you can just to make it a bit more personalized is always a benefit. And again, if you have zero-party data on your customers, whether that be a certain pain point that they may have, maybe that's the location that they're in, you can obviously refine your personalization strategy by doing so. Now, here are some tips for writing copy that sells, and a few bullets here. So first things first is knowing your audience. You have to be doing research before you go sit down and write copy. Know who you're selling to, know what their pain points are, know what motivates them to make a purchase, what are they trying to solve, how does your product help them solve the issues that they actually have as well. Using emotional triggers, be clear and concise, focus on benefits, obviously focus on features as well. Use of social proof, create urgency, test, and optimize. Very, very important. You should always be testing your copy, testing what works, testing what doesn't work. Now we're going to dive into some examples of good copy, some from our clients, some not from our clients. We'll just go dive into this one first and explain why it's such a good email. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit just so it's a bit more readable. But immediately in the headline, your glow is only as good as your water. So immediately they're obviously painting the picture of having a nice, I suppose, glowing skin, having nice glowing skin. And that water, having obviously good water is the problem there, right? You're selling the outcome of glowing skin, and you're obviously positioning the problem as being not having good water. And obviously they're selling, I believe, shower heads. Again, if you just go through the copy, it's nicely spaced. You can see that there's a nice use of headings, effortlessly glowing skin, healthy hair and scalp, salon results every day. So you can literally just Scan through this email and you can get the general gist of what this product does, what it solves. Then we'll just move on to the next one. This is from AG1, benefits you can feel. Makes it very clear because obviously this is quite a big pain point that a lot of customers would have who buy supplements. You take a supplement and you're not sure whether it's a placebo effect. Are you actually feeling the effects? And this is hitting on that straight away. And you can see here that they're focusing on some features of the product. So what it includes, adaptogens, and then various different ingredients and so on, and making it very clear with nicely spaced copy with headings. Finding your focus and energy, aging well, staying balanced. You can immediately get, without even reading this full email, you can get what the product does, what pain points it solves. Now, moving on to this one, this is actually one of the best performing campaigns that we've done for a client of ours selling supplements. And you can see here that we're hitting on the problem in the first section. So asking them, do they like coffee? Most people do like coffee. And then obviously positioning coffee as a potential threat. So we're talking about it here. So there's a small problem. Overconsumption of caffeine can lead to the following. Luckily, this product that we have contains quarter the amount of caffeine in an average cup of coffee. It also contains XYZ, all blah blah blah, explaining the benefits, and then positioning it as the solution, and also using a customer review here to kind of build some social proof. Now, this one is from Space Goods, really great emails from Space Goods. And you can see here, again, just look at these emails and just scan through, and you'll understand that if you just scan through it, don't even read it properly, you can generally gain the most of the understanding from it by just looking at the headings. So can't focus, getting distracted easily, dealing with ADHD, hitting on pain points straight away. They're sharing a story of a customer who's obviously overcome these certain pain points. And then again, down here, you're stating the value of the product and how good of an offer it is. This email here, say goodbye to restless nights with product X. Again, restless nights are going to be a pain point, so we're mentioning that straight away. If you suffer from that pain point, you're probably going to read on. Experience deep restorative sleep for optimal well-being. Again, you're positioning the product as a solution to their problem. And finally, in this one, you can see this is a lot more of a copy-heavy one. But you can see here, just by scanning through, that this product is obviously about a clay mask. You can see about the magic of clay, ingredients backed by time, healing the natural way, the missing piece, a beauty ritual as old as time. So this is mainly talking about the history of the product, but also clearly stating the benefits of the product as well. So it makes it quite easy to understand what the email is about when the copy is written well. Now, we'll just zoom back out here, right? So now we'll continue on. So last thing to kind of remember about when you're writing copy, and this is taken from the book Advertising by Drew Eric Whitman. Human beings are programmed with the following 8 desires. So number 1 is survival, enjoyment of life, life extension. You have enjoyment of food and drink, freedom of fear, pain and danger, sexual companionship, comfortable living conditions, to be superior, winning, keeping up with the Joneses, care and protection of loved ones, and then finally, social approval. So next time you're writing copy, ask yourself, are you hitting on one of these or more? And ideally, if you can hit on a few of them, you're winning. Now we'll move on to email design. So we're just going to kind of run through the housekeeping of email design before we go on to a few examples, and just kind of talk a bit about best practices. So first things first is using a clean and simple layout. Keep it simple, single column layout, hierarchy. So obviously you want to avoid clutter, make it as easy as possible to read on desktop and mobile, use headings, subheadings, bullet points to organize information, make it scannable. It needs to be scannable. Of course, mobile friendly design, make sure it's responsive. It looks great on all devices, large fonts and buttons. Remember, particularly as well, if you're selling products to, let's say, an older demographic, let's say they could be 50, 60 plus, you'll want to make sure that your fonts are quite big, because obviously most people like to run into vision issues around that age. So make sure that obviously it's very readable, fonts are big, buttons are big, making it just as simple as possible for people to interact with your emails. Then we're on to visual elements. Of course, goes without saying, using high quality images. Use sharp, relevant images that obviously enhance your messaging. Consistent branding. The key about consistent branding is that you want to make sure that whenever a customer opens an email, they know exactly who it is straight away. They just recognize a brand. It's all very familiar. So make sure that it's consistent throughout. if you obviously open up an email and, if you open up a Nike email, without even knowing it's the brand, you probably would obviously associate the design with them because their branding is so consistent. And of course, balancing text and images as well, ensuring that you have a good mix of the both. Of course, color scheme then as well. Of course, goes without saying, use your brand colors, stick to the brand's color palette. Again, reinforcing that brand identity, making people familiar with seeing the same kind of branding, colors, design over and over again. Again, using contrast, making sure that things are popping out. Don't really be using colors that kind of blend into each other. Let's say, for example, you have a certain background. You don't want your CTA blending into that background. You really want to make it pop and make it become immediately visible when someone is looking at the email. And of course, highlighting certain elements of your email as well to make it pop out. Just on typography, making sure that the fonts are easy to read. You're using clean, easy to read fonts. You don't want to really be using any kind of handwritten fonts because they just are very hard to read. And avoid using too many in your emails. Making sure that the font sizes, as we said, are readable and consistent formatting, maintaining a consistent font style throughout your email. You don't really want to be using, let's say, 5 different font sizes or 5 different font styles. It just makes it very, very hard to read. So here are some tips for designing emails that will actually convert. So prioritizing the most important information. Again, going back to the point that we previously made, making sure that all of the important information is in the hero section of your email, because this is going to be the section that people will see when they open it up on mobile. Using short paragraphs, testing across devices, using alt text for images. So in case images don't load, alt text will obviously convey the message. Keeping file sizes small, again, because that is going to help with the load speed of the email, and it will reduce the amount of times that your emails will bounce. Ideally, trying to keep your images below 300 kilobytes, and of course, accessibility, making sure that everyone can actually read the emails as well, including those with disabilities. Now, here's some common mistakes to actually avoid. So ignoring mobile users, always optimize for mobile. Most people are going to be looking on mobile. Inconsistent branding, make sure that it's consistent. Make sure that your emails are obviously recognizable to your customers. Weak CTAs are another one. Make sure that they're not blending into the background. They pop off the page or off the email. And ignoring load times, as we just said there. Again, previously, slow loading emails can obviously frustrate users. People's attention spans are so low. So you need to make sure that they're loading literally instantaneously. Now, here's a chance to look at some examples, and we'll kind of go through a few of them. So first things first is you can see this is nicely spaced out. Products are cleanly put into the email. The text pops off the background. It's nice and easy on the eye. Same with here. You can see the products. It's nicely spaced out. There's no consistent use of fonts, consistent use of brand colors. You can see here from Oakley. One thing you'll notice is the CTA is down a bit lower in this email, but sometimes you might have an image where putting a CTA on it might make it look a bit messy. So you don't always have to put a CTA above the full section. Again, here's a nice one from Surreal, brand I really like the emails of. And you can see this is nice and clean. Nice use of colors, making stuff pop out. Nice use of contrasting colors there. Again, this brand here, nice clean imagery. And again, you'll notice with fashion brands, obviously, it's a lot more image intensive with the emails that they actually make. Now, moving on, we'll go on to customer journey mapping. So we're on to the third point. So this will actually relate to your automated flows that you have set up for your brand, right? And generally speaking, we like to segregate this into 2 core sections: your pre-purchase flows and your post-purchase flows. So what are your pre-purchase flows? Literally anything that you're building before the customer makes an order. So the first one's welcome series, checkout, cart, browse, site, because you open flow, the window shoppers flow. Then moving on to your post-purchase flows, you again, of course, have the post-purchase itself. You have a VIP flow, customer win-back flow, replenishment flow, a subscription welcome flow, a subscription cancellation flow, and a reminder flow about the subscription. So now we're going to talk about each flow, the goal of it, and some other tips and tricks about them. So with the welcome flow, your goal is obviously to introduce your subscribers to your best products, your USPs, your brand philosophy, and inevitably you just want to make them make their first purchase. And generally speaking, you'd want this flow to be about 5 to 10 emails long, depending on the brand. Normally what we find is some supplement brands will have longer welcome series because there's probably a lot more to get across. There's a lot more pain points to discuss. You have to discuss ingredients. So there's a lot more to obviously chat about in the welcome flow. On your ban and checkout flow, your goal here is to remove all possible objections that the customer may have and convert them to a purchase. Length, you're talking really 3 to 5 emails there. Generally, what we found is if you kind of go above that, customers tend to get annoyed, unsubscribe rates tend to increase. So you want to just find that sweet spot where you're sending enough emails, but you're not completely overdoing it with customers as well, and sending relevant content also. A bonus tip on the abandoned checkout flow is you can split this 3 ways. You can split it based off of the who's a buyer and who's a non-buyer. You can split it based off of high or low cart value. For example, if you have a free shipping threshold of, let's say, $100, so you get free shipping if you spend that, you obviously might want to segregate your flow based off of whether they're above or below, because if they're above, you'll obviously want to remind them that they have free shipping. And then finally, you can split it based off of product collection. Then on the abandoned cart flow, generally it's going to be the exact same. You want to make sure that you're removing all possible objections and converting them to a purchase. Length is going to be 3 to 5 emails, and you can split it the exact same way as the abandoned checkout. Browse abandonment, this is when customers view a product and they obviously come off the site. You'll want to make sure that you're building trust with them, remind them about the products that they were looking at, and obviously guide them to completing their order. There are 2 ways in which you can split that. You can split it based off of buyers and non-buyers, or you can split it based off of product collection and get very personalized with it. The because you open flow, not really used by many brands that I audit. And generally the way this works is you'll set up a segment looking like this. And if a customer joins that, you'll essentially send them 2 to 5 emails, following up with them, letting them know that they have an incentive to convert them into a purchase. Then on your window shoppers flow, again, similarly enough to the the because you opened, you'll want to set up this segment. So essentially, these are customers who are obviously engaging with the brand. They're viewing products, they're active on the site, they're clicking emails, but you want to make sure that they're converting. For whatever reason, they're not converting. So you want to send them 3 to 5 emails. You perhaps might want to obviously, you can incentivize. You can also give them product recommendations, showcase testimonials, social proof, and just build more trust with that customer. Now we're on to our post-purchase flows, right? So the post-purchase flow itself, the goal here is to get the customer excited about their order, remove buyer's remorse. That's very important. Provide tips and guides about the product that they just purchased, and then and only then ask for a reorder. You want to make sure what's really key with the post-purchase is that you're giving as much value as possible before you're asking for a reorder or you're asking for a review. And generally the length is going to be 6 to 10 emails. If you can get a post-purchase flow to convert really well, you're going to be laughing, because essentially these orders are going to be very profitable because you're getting customers come back. The customer acquisition cost is essentially 0. And bonus tip here is to split this flow based off of 1-time buyers, 2-time buyers, 3-time buyers, and 4x plus buyers. And generally speaking, what we do is anyone who is in the 3x buyers segment or section, they'll actually go in to our VIP flow. And in the VIP flow, the goal here is to obviously welcome them to the VIP club, let them know the exclusive benefits that they're going to get, such as early access to product launches, early access to sales, VIP exclusive discounts. And obviously you can use this to collect some data as well, because these customers are obviously, quite engaged with the brand. They're quite loyal. So you can ask them to provide some feedback about their experience so far. What has made them come back so many times? The customer win back flow kind of does what it says on the tin. You want to make sure that the customer comes back and makes another purchase, remind them about the product benefits, and incentivize a purchase potentially. Generally speaking, the way we like to structure this is we would, in the first email, just remind them to come back and restate the benefits with no discount. And then later on, we'll start introducing a discount if they don't convert on the first or second email. Then on your replenishment flow, this is really going to apply to, let's say, CPG brands, supplements, potentially skincare, stuff that is replenishable. You want to remind the customer to come back and place an order, remind them about the benefits of consistent use of the product that they bought. So this will apply to supplements. So if you have a supplement, you want to remind the customer the benefits that they'll get after using this product month after month after month after month, and really restate the benefits that they can get there. A bonus tip here is you can use Klaviyo's predictive analytics for the expected time of next order to trigger this series of emails. Now we're onto the subscription welcome flow. So if your brand offers a subscription, you'll want to make sure that customer is onboarded correctly after they've placed that order. So you want to get them excited about the subscription, remind them about the benefits that they can now take advantage of, Remove buyer's remorse. Again, really important that you're removing buyer's remorse, making them feel good about the products that they just bought or the products. And again, you'll want to make sure that you're using this flow to reduce churn, increase LTV, and of course, ask for feedback as well. And length is generally going to be 3 to 5 emails. The cancellation flow, generally the revenue off these two last ones here aren't going to be massive, but this would be triggered when someone cancels their subscription. You'll want to like obviously acknowledge the cancellation, ask them for feedback, and attempt to recover the subscription as well. You don't really want to be going over 4 emails for this because the customer mightn't be all that happy if they are canceling their subscription, so you don't really want to annoy them any much more than they probably are. And then finally, a subscription reminder flow. Remind the customer about renewing their subscription and remind them about the benefits of subscribing. So you always constantly want to be reselling them the benefits about subscribing once they make that. And again, for a subscription reminder flow, you can generally go to structure whereby you could remind the customer 7 days before it's about to renew, maybe 3 days before, and then 1 day before, just so they're obviously aware that money is going to be coming out in the next few days. Now, we internally use our seven-figure flow map. And if you want access to this, you can access it in the video description below. And again, this is going to highlight all of the flows that we use, the structures, and so on. So if you want access to that, again, you can go down into the video description to get that. Now we're on to step 4, and this comes on to optimization. So now that we have, our flow set up, with our pop-up set up, we know what kind of campaigns we want to send. How do we actually optimize and iterate on that month over month and make sure that we're winning marginal gains every single month, right? Again, it should go without saying, once you have the flows in place, they must be tested, especially high volume flows, okay? So don't forget, again, about testing your campaigns and pop-up forms. So we're not just talking about flows here. So where should you actually run tests, right? So first things first is the high volume flows. You're generally going to see much better data on flows such as your welcome series, your checkout, cart, browse abandonment, because you're getting more people through those flows. You're going to receive statistical significance much quicker. For example, you probably see much quicker statistical significance as opposed to a VIP flow where the volume going through mightn't be as high. Secondly, then you'll obviously want to make sure that you're running pop-up form tests. So test the following in order of importance. First things first is going to be the offer. That's going to be the main driver of your conversion rate on your pop-up form. Test multi-step versus single step, as we discussed at the start of this video. The timing of the pop-up, maybe you want to test 5 seconds of a delay versus maybe a 60% of the page scroll. And then finally, you can test the pop-up design and copy. Generally, that's not going to move the needle forward as much. But again, it's always worth testing, provided that you've tested the first 3 here. On campaigns, you always want to be making sure that you're, testing campaigns on a regular basis. Even if you have a small list as well, you'll want to make sure that you're running, at least 1 or 2 tests a week. And what you can test are send times, subject lines, preview text, CTAs in the hero section, copy, and design. So this is a kind of approach that we follow internally at my agency, and we call it the top-down approach. So always keep this method in the back of your mind when you're testing. It's crucial that you treat your email as a funnel. So the subject line is going to make the person open. The heading copy is going to hook the reader's attention. The CTA will sell the click. So if we're taking this into consideration, what we'll have to do when we're testing emails is go at it with a systematic approach, assuming, the send time is optimized, assuming that we have that optimized, or else if we're making a flow here. You'll want to first find the winning subject line style. Once you have that nailed down, you want to find the winning headline style. Once you have that nailed down, you'll want to find the winning CTA style. And then once you find these styles, you can replicate it on other flows as well. And then once you have those dialed in, you can look at testing things such as long versus short copy, heavy design versus plain text. And again, it's always important to remember whenever you're A/B testing, there's nothing too crazy for an A/B test. As long as it's within the brand guidelines, you simply won't know until the data tells you. So always be open to testing new things and trying new stuff. Now, the highest impact areas to run A/B tests, if you don't have a lot of time, is first of all the pop-up form. That's going to be the lowest hanging fruit. If you can increase the amount of people coming into your list, you're going to increase the amount of sales that you get more than likely. Next is your welcome series, then your abandoned checkout, abandoned cart, browse abandonment, and post-purchase. If you have tests in these areas, and let's say, for example, you don't have time to test things in other areas, you can apply the winning tests of these to other facets of your email marketing strategy. And then finally, obviously optimizing based on A/B test results. So follow this 3-step process of analyzing the results, look at the results of your A/B test, look at the analytics, the open rates, click-through rates, place order rates, whatever you're testing for, implement the winning variation. So once you've found a winning, let's say, subject line style, implement that as the new standard for your emails going forward, and then test new things against it. So iterate and test again. And then finally, we'll get on to third-party integrations. So if you really want to add fuel to the fire with your email marketing strategy, you want to make sure that you're using some third-party apps, and some of our favorite apps to use. And again, just for context, I have absolutely no affiliation with any of these. These are just apps that we use for our clients and that we see really good results with. So first things first is Loop and Loop subscriptions. So this is a subscription Shopify app if you're not familiar. And if you can integrate this with Klaviyo, Loop will basically send very usable data into Klaviyo that you can use to enrich your email marketing strategy. So you'll be able to obviously refine it by obviously getting access to when customers start a subscription, when they cancel a subscription, and when they're about to renew a subscription as well. And again, we can use these data points to obviously trigger our flows that we mentioned previously in this video. Secondly, then is Smile.io. So Smile.io is a loyalty and rewards app. And introducing that will obviously give you valuable data on what loyalty points customers have. And generally, we like to use this as a dynamic block at the end of emails, and it will remind customers subtly what their points balance is. And it's slightly gamifying the email as well, because if a customer reads that, they might actually see, oh God, I have 100 or 1,000 points that I have to redeem. And that might incentivize purchase there as well. And then finally, we have Typeform. So by far, this is the most powerful third-party integration that we've used for our clients. And the use case is this, right? So step 1 is host a quiz on your website, which is set up on Typeform. Step 2 is collect valuable zero-party data about the customer and collect emails at the end of the quiz. And just before we go on to the next point, what I mean by zero-party data is, for example, you might want to have a quiz if you're a supplement store, asking what the customer's specific pain points are. Is that they have poor sleep? Is it that, they have low energy? Is it that they feel, run down or feel sick all the time? So there are a few kind of different pain points that you can gather in your Typeform quiz. Then what's going to happen is, because you have Typeform integrated with Klaviyo, you can feed this data into Klaviyo using the integration. Once you have that done, you can set up a flow which is triggered when someone fills out a Typeform. Split that flow based off of the customer's pain points. So for example, going back to our supplement example there, if we had, let's say, data points about customers who struggle with sleep, customers who struggle with low energy, customers who struggle with, feeling run down or feeling sick all the time, we can basically have 3 different paths there for 3 different pain points. And again, you can provide specific product recommendations based off of exactly what they told you. And then just kind of moving down again, if you want access to this document, just leave a little comment in the section. In the comment section, I'll give you access to this. But we have some other integration examples here. Now, these are just my favorite. These ones back up here that I like to use. We do use some others, and there's some other great integrations that you can set up with Klaviyo. So you have some subscription apps, loyalty and rewards, reviews apps, and quiz apps as well. So that wraps up this video. I know it's a bit in depth. If you found it useful, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. And if you are an e-commerce brand owner looking to have an agency to take care of your email marketing, do leave a comment or reach out to me. Hit the Calendly link in the description, and we can take from there. So thanks very much for watching this. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next video.